I stand at the grand entrance of Silver Lake Resort, the Montana air crisp against my skin. My hands are steady now, but my heart still remembers how it used to race every year at this moment. The silver Range Rover appears first, gliding up the long pine-lined driveway. Vivian, my mother-in-law, steps out in designer sunglasses and a cream cashmere sweater, looking every bit the queen she believes she is. She doesn't greet me. She simply gestures toward her 4 large suitcases. Elena, be a dear and make sure these go straight to our usual cabin. No hello. No, how was your drive? Just orders. Behind her comes Lauren, my sister-in-law, in her white convertible, laughing loudly on the phone about closing another multi-million-dollar real estate deal. She gives me a quick wave, the kind you give to a hotel concierge, then continues talking. David, my husband, arrives last in his sensible Audi. He leans in and kisses my cheek, soft and brief. You okay? He asks quietly. I force a smile. I'm fine, but I'm not fine. I haven't been fine for a very long time. This is our 11th annual family trip to Silver Lake Resort. For 10 years, I've been the invisible daughter-in-law, the one who organizes everything, handles complaints, remembers everyone's food preferences, and still gets treated like hired help. Last year, during family photos, Vivian casually said, Elena, you're so good at taking pictures. Why don't you take one of just the family? They all smiled while I stood outside the frame. That night, something inside me finally snapped. While everyone slept, I walked down to the lake alone. The water was perfectly still, reflecting thousands of stars. I pulled out my phone and sent a message to my old college friend who worked in private equity. I'm ready. Let's talk about Silver Lake. For the past 10 months, I've lived a double life. By day, I was still quiet, helpful Elena, the environmental consultant who worked remotely. But at night, and during every work trip, I was secretly building a plan to buy the resort that had become a symbol of my erasure. I studied every financial report. I spoke with the current owners, who were exhausted and ready to sell. I built a strong investment group. I used every skill I had developed over 10 years of being underestimated. And now everything is almost in place. The next morning, I watch from the lobby window as Vivian walks up to the reception desk, expecting the usual royal treatment, special welcome basket, upgraded cabin, staff rushing to carry her bags. This time, the young receptionist smiles politely and says, Good morning,
Ma'am.
Checking in. Vivian freezes. For the first time in years, she has to wait in line like everyone else. I turn away before she sees me watching. My pulse quickens. The game has begun. The first cracks appear faster than I expected. By the second day, Vivian is already complaining loudly at breakfast. The service here has really gone downhill, she says sharply, loud enough for the entire dining room to hear. We've been coming here for over 20 years. They used to know exactly what we want. Lauren nods in agreement. My cabin doesn't even have the usual champagne in the fridge. And the valet didn't recognize me yesterday. David stays mostly quiet, but I can see the discomfort on his face. I sit there listening, stirring my coffee slowly, letting every word sink in. 10 years of comments like these, small cuts that never healed. That afternoon, while the family goes boating, I slip away to the new private office I've arranged. The resort's general manager, Marcus, is already waiting. Everything is moving exactly as planned. Miss Harper, he says with quiet respect. The staff have been informed of the new protocols. No more special treatment for the Harper-Benton family, I confirm. They are now regular guests. Marcus smiles faintly. Understood. In the folder he hands me are years of records, Lauren's secretly renting out the family cabin to her rich clients for huge profits while only paying the family rate. Vivian's repeated verbal abuse toward housekeeping staff. Martin's expired long-term discount that was never supposed to continue. I've documented everything. That night, I lie awake beside David.
He's already asleep.
Breathing deeply. I stare at the ceiling, remembering how many nights I cried silently in this same bed after being humiliated by his family. I whisper into the darkness. You never really saw me, David. The next morning, I meet my investment partners in Bozeman. The final paperwork is ready. The wire transfer for the remaining 40% ownership will be sent in 3 days. I am about to become the majority owner of Silver Lake Resort. On the drive back, my hands tremble slightly on the steering wheel, not from fear, but from the weight of what I'm about to do. When I return to the resort, the family is gathered on the terrace for sunset cocktails. Vivian spots me and immediately starts complaining again. Elena, you need to speak to management. This place is falling apart. We deserve better treatment after all these years. I look at her calmly. I agree, I say softly. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect. She doesn't catch the deeper meaning in my words. But she will soon. The atmosphere at dinner on the third night is noticeably colder. The family's usual corner table by the lake now feels tense. No welcome basket. No special wine list. No staff rushing to refill their glasses the second they're empty. Vivian is fuming. Lauren keeps checking her phone. Annoyed. Even Martin is unusually quiet. I sit at the edge of the table, watching them like I've done for years. Except this time, I'm no longer afraid. After the main course, Marcus approaches our table carrying a bottle of champagne. Ladies and gentlemen, he announces in a clear voice. We have a very special announcement tonight. The entire dining room quiets down. Marcus continues, after months of transition. We are proud to officially welcome our new majority owner and managing partner, Miss Elena Harper. The room erupts in applause. But at our table, time seems to stop. Lauren chokes on her wine. Vivian's face turns ghostly white. Martin's glass slips from his hand and crashes onto the table. David stares at me in complete shock, his mouth slightly open. I rise slowly from my chair and walk to the front of the room. My heels click deliberately against the wooden floor. For the first time in 10 years, I'm not shrinking. I'm standing tall. I take the microphone and speak with a calm, steady voice. Thank you. Silver Lake has always been a special place. But moving forward, every guest will receive the same level of respect and service, no exceptions. No legacy privileges. No more treating staff poorly. My eyes meet Vivian's across the room. No one is above the rules anymore. I return to the table and place a thick folder in front of them. Inside are the documents. First, I slide Lauren's paper across the table. Your unauthorized subletting of the family cabin ends today. Your client has been informed the booking is canceled. Lauren's face drains of color. Next, I look at Martin. Your special discount expired 3 years ago. You have 30 days to vacate cabin 7. Finally, I turn to Vivian and place the thickest stack of papers in front of her. 17 formal complaints from staff about your behavior over the past decade. This resort now has a zero-tolerance policy for guest harassment. The silence at the table is deafening. Vivian's lips tremble. How dare you? I cut her off calmly. You spent 10 years reminding me I was nothing. That I was only here to serve. Now I own the place you love most. I pick up my folder and stand. I have an early meeting about the new solar installation tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening. As I walk away, I feel 10 years of invisible weight finally lifting off my shoulders. That night, David follows me back to our cabin. He closes the door behind us and stands frozen in the entryway. still in disbelief. Elena, why didn't you tell me? His voice cracks. Buying the entire resort? How long have you been planning this? I pour myself a glass of wine and sit by the fireplace. 10 years, I say quietly. 10 years of being treated like I didn't matter. 10 years of being talked over, looked through, and used. David runs a hand through his hair, struggling to process everything. I thought we were okay, he whispers. No, I reply. You were comfortable. I was disappearing. I take a slow sip of wine. You never asked about my work. You never defended me when your mother humiliated me. You let them treat me like staff for a decade. He sits down heavily on the couch, looking broken. What happens now? He asks. I look him directly in the eyes. You go back to Chicago. I stay here. I'll have the divorce papers sent to you next week. His face crumples. You're leaving me? I left you a long time ago, I say softly. You just didn't notice. The next morning, Vivian and Lauren check out at dawn.
They don't say goodbye.
I stand on the dock watching their cars disappear down the driveway, feeling a strange mix of relief and sadness. Later that day, I walk through the resort with Marcus, discussing plans for renovations, new staff housing, solar power, restoring the wetlands. For the first time in years, I feel truly seen, not just by others, but by myself. 3 weeks later, I stand at the edge of the lake as the sun sets behind the mountains, painting the water gold and crimson. The resort feels different now, calmer, more respectful. Staff walk with confidence. Guests are treated equally. I finally moved into the renovated boathouse cabin, my permanent home. It's small, sustainable, and completely mine. My phone buzzes. It's David. He sent a long message, full of regret and apologies. He says he's been reflecting deeply on our marriage and his failures. I read it twice, then put my phone away. Some apologies come too late. As I watch the final rays of sunlight disappear, I feel something I haven't felt in years: peace. I spent a decade being invisible. Now I am finally seen. And more importantly, I finally see myself.
The end.